Acknowledge me, the one.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's the OTC for you, baby.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kick It to Scoops. I'm your host, Scoops, the sole admin of Scoops. It's WrestleMania season. We are exactly 7 days away. In fact, scratch that. We are 6 days away from WrestleMania, the grand final for wrestling. It's an exciting time in the world of wrestling. Now, the next podcast episode of Kick It to Scoops will be on Tuesday night next week due to the footy on Monday. But Sunday and Monday is WrestleMania, night 1 and night 2. Will the history-breaking record of John Cena, who's retiring at the end of December this year, will he break their all-time record and become a 17-time world champion? Come on, John. You can't see me, but we can see that you're going to break the damn record. Yeet. Acknowledge me, the one. Now, Roman Reigns will be facing CM Punk and Seth freaking Rollins. Hopefully my tribal chief will get the victory, but doesn't look like he will. Looks like he's wise man who you saw in that clip, Paul Heyman, will turn on him. But regardless, enough about wrestling. You're here for the footy. Well, you get that because I'm a wrestling fanatic. I love wrestling. WWE is where it's at for professional wrestling and sports entertainment. Then, now, forever together. Now, the world of footy. Well, Scoops Goose Bang is going to be explosive yet again because Kane Cornes has again continued to spill rubbish when it comes to the St Kilda Football Club. What I thought was an okay effort yesterday. Not good enough to get the victory, but an okay effort against a premier side like the GWS Giants. But we're more worried about Port Adelaide, Kane, that you had a 71-point lead and you almost choked it against Hawthorn. Choking a 70-point lead would have been the biggest choke in AFL history. So I'll be more worrying about that than worrying about Jack Higgins and St Kilda. And that's what I'll be getting to very, very shortly, Kane. I'm going to go through my team of the week, my Supercoach talk, and I'll review the rounds that's gone and upcoming, what I think a gather round, which I don't think is that good, to be honest. But yeah, everything in between. We'll start off with this. You want me on Cameo? Head to cameo.com/Cooper G. You want me to roast a friend every time I have a birthday? Anything at all, cameo.com/Cooper G. If you know any AFL, AFLW players, any up-and-coming draftees, or any state league players and you'd like to see them on the podcast in a goal kicking challenge and or interview, please do send me a message and we'll try and get something sorted. Hopefully I can have a big announcement sometime in the next few days in regards to another show, another video idea, another interview, goal kicking challenge, whatever it may be. Will be on the channel hopefully within the next few days. So look forward to that surprise as well for what content will be on the channel next, what interview or goal kicking challenge or other podcast or everything like that. There's your clues. Figure it out for yourself and you'll find out in the next few days. Supercoach, everything like that. Now, Archie Roberts has won the Rising Star for this round. I think Hugo Garcia, off the top of my head, was robbed. The Saints youngster. Can't believe he didn't get nominated this round. There was probably a few other players at the time. I know Levi Ashworth's already been nominated, so he can't be nominated again, but he was pretty good on the weekend for the Brisbane Lions in their come from behind win over the Bulldogs. But yeah, let's go right now into the world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. Now, Kane Cornes loves spewing garbage when it comes to talking about anyone, and in particular the St Kilda Football Club. Now, Kane's been on a Saints hate train in particular this year. He predicted us bottom 4. That's not happening, Kane. You criticised your own SEN colleague in David King when he fact-checked you and told you were wrong and you wouldn't admit that St Kilda's going well. Now, you're probably laughing that St Kilda lost this week because you got a hatred for St Kilda. You've got a hatred for Jack Macrae. You've now got a hatred for Jack Higgins. You've got a hatred for the St Kilda Football Club, and I don't understand why. Is it because St Kilda owned you when you played against St Kilda back in the day? Is that why? You were suddenly on Jack Macrae's side last year when he was at the Bulldogs. Now you hate him because he's at St Kilda. Very hypocritical. Now, you're probably going to say that Jack Macrae didn't have any impact on the weekend. He had 17 disposals, okay? Not the numbers that you would want for a midfielder. I get that. But he was tagged by Toby Bedford, who's tagged pretty much everyone and beaten everyone he's played on this year. Like our tagger, Marcus Winhager, beat Finn Callahan on the weekend. Now, you know, the thing with Jack Macrae this weekend, was he was very, very influential with the time and disposals that he had. Of those 17 disposals, there were 12 of them were contested possessions, Kane. He had 6 clearances, and 5 of those were centre bounce clearances, something that Horne-Francis cannot do. And he had 4 score involvements as well. And I thought he was, you know, it was his quietest game of the lot, but that's because every other game has been 30 plus and high impact, high contested possessions, everything like that. But through his 17 disposals, he had 12 of those contested, Kane, 6 clearances and 5 of those centre bounce clearances. I would say, considering he was tagged by one of the best taggers in the game right now, I'd be saying, you know, he done reasonably well. Not the standards that he has got, but for the limited amount of disposals he had, he damn well made sure he impacted well. Something that you also said that he can't do. And that's just a crock of shit that you talk about Jack Macrae and St Kilda Football Club. You won't own up to your mistake about saying we'd be bottom 4 when we're more close to the top 4 than we are bottom 4. And on top of that, you started talking crap about Jack Higgins. And obviously you got butthurt that he said he doesn't like Adelaide last week after the Crows win. Sorry, Port Adelaide win. That's your team, Kane, that we beat. Just remember that, buddy. And, you know, we beat your team, champ, okay? And then you've had a shit year. Then you go and say this.
As a proud South Australian, I think you bristled when you heard Jack Higgins say, I don't like Adelaide, and you put him right on the agenda.
Oh, well, when you're going to say that and then you turn up and you don't touch the football, like, yeah, he kicked 1 consolation goal late to sort of puff his stats up, but he had 4 touches at three-quarter time, hadn't hit the scoreboard, and you go back to the audio last week where he's on this very ground after they beat Port Adelaide, oh, we don't want to play here. Well, yeah, it didn't look like you wanted to play there either, Jack.
You're a hard man, mate. He kicked 2 goals. He's got 14, the same amount of goals as your best player in the comp, in Sam Darcy.
Where was he when the game was on the line, Richo?
Get that steam coming out of your ears. The volcano's starting to erupt.
So, Kane, first of all, mate, what would you rather him do? You say he got a cheap goal. Wrong. He got 2 goals, by the way, not 1. So you're wrong right then and there, okay? And was he on like 4 touches at three-quarter time? Sure. Do you not understand that the delivery inside 50 wasn't great? Many of the forwards are very quiet, but why are you singling out Jack Higgins? Is it because he said your state shit and you don't like that? He can say what he likes. He doesn't have to like Adelaide because of you or anyone else. If he doesn't like Adelaide, he doesn't like Adelaide. Was he quiet? Sure. But what would you rather him do? You say he got junk time goals and junk time disposals. What did you want him to do? Just be non-existent for the whole game? And then you say he was shit the whole game? I'd rather you impact the game late than do nothing the entire game. Like, what did you want him to do? 2 goals, 14 disposals. Pretty solid, if you ask me. So, you know, you're continuing a hatred for St Kilda because you got the Jack Macrae one wrong. And by the way, Jack Higgins still has the most goals for a small forward this year with 14. 14. That's more than any other player in the competition, let alone Port Adelaide players, Kane. He's got more goals than any other Port Adelaide small forward or anyone for that matter. And regardless, I'm sure you won't have any St Kilda players in your All-Australian team. I know you're on the All-Australian panel again, I assume. So you probably won't have Jack Macrae in there. You won't have Jack Higgins in there because 2 of them should both be in right now. But yeah, we'll see when it comes to the All-Australian selection, how rigged it truly is. There were some selections last year. I remember when they posted the video of everything when you were talking with Abby Holmes and Andrew Dillon and everyone in that panel. Eddie Betts, I think, was on it as well. You were just hating on certain players and players you don't like and glazing Horne-Francis and everyone like that. Horne-Francis didn't turn up again lately. He had 1 good game. Where was he 3 of the other 5 games? Well, he was okay yesterday, but 5 turnovers, Kane. The same stats that you bring up for Jack Macrae. Bring that same energy to your mate Horne-Francis. And we saw the interview you did with him yesterday, glazing him there. He's not even in the top 10 players in the comp right now. Not even close. And he better not be in your All-Australian team right now, because that just shows how laughable your comments have been if you've truly got him in there right now. Jack Macrae has been way better this year over Jason Horne-Francis. To Kane Cornes, yet again, I will tell you each and every week until you listen, lift your game. Pathetic. Hope you guys and girls enjoy that edition of the world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. Now, so comment down below what your thoughts are on that and the continued hatred that Kane Cornes has towards Jack Macrae, Jack Higgins, and the St Kilda Football Club. Now it's time to go through my round 5 AFL team of the week. Now, before I start, I want to say too that it was very hard to select this week. I've gone a fair few tall players in the back line and forward line, but nowhere does it say in the rule book that they have to all be a certain height, like small players, medium-sized players and all that. It can be the 6 best forwards and the 6 best defenders in the comp. Right. From the back line, the pockets, Zach Reid and Jasper Fletcher. Fullback, Mark Keane. Half-back line, the flankers, Nasiah Wanganeen Malira and James Sicily. Centre half-back, Jack Payne, who brought the pain to the Bulldogs. The wingers, Hugh McCluggage and Dylan Shield. Centreman, Zach Butters. Half-forward line, Jack Gunston and Toby Green. Centre half-forward, Josh Tracy. Forward line, the pockets, Eric I Own Liam Jones, Hipwood, and Logan Morris. All hail the king at full forward, Ben King. The ruck, Max Gawn. Rovers, Sam Walsh and George Hewitt. Interchange, Jai Menzies, Zach Merritt, Cooper Sharman, the Sharmanator, Helen Ward and Max Holmes. Emergencies, Ben Keys, Corey Durden and Callum Archie. Now, reasons for all these selections. Well, let me remove that banner for just a second. It was very hard to pick this team this week. I really like the games of all guys I have on the emergency list there. I have, as you can read there, Ben Keys, Corey Durden, and Callum Archie all played key roles in their side and impacted their team's performances. Like Callum Archie was a huge part in the Lions coming back. Corey Durden was a consistent performer for Carlton, kicking 4. Ben Keys hit 3 of 18. You know, all were next in line, and, you know, it was really bloody hard. There's a few other key position defenders that I could have included but didn't. Zach Reid had 20 disposals, had like 10 intercept possessions and 1%ers. So, I mean, he just had to make it. And he was on Jacob Van Rooyen, who did absolutely shit. Mark Keane had 24 disposals with like 11 or 12 1%ers and intercept possessions. It was a lock. Jasper Fletcher, I'm really liking the season of Jasper Fletcher off the half-back line. He's been in my team, I reckon, 2 or 3 times, and he's bloody well deserved it. And if he hasn't made the team, he's been on the emergency list. So he's been in consideration almost every game he's played so far. He's in great form, Jasper Fletcher. Might be one I even look at for Supercoach. Maybe not so much, but all right, he's having a good start. Well, my man, Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira from the Saints, 3 goals, 24 disposals, pushed through the midfield and half-forward line in the last quarter, kicked 2 goals in the last quarter. He was freaking awesome. He's elite, long kicking. He's a key weapon, and one of the best young players in the competition so far is Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira. Definitely should be All-Australian lock right now. James Sicily kicked 2 goals with 20 disposals. You'll say, was he in the back line? He played the first half there. And then he played forward in the most of the back half of the game. But I still think he's capable of being in the team. And as with all the key forwards, as you can see on the screen, I just had to put him there. Hugh McCluggage was really influential for the Brisbane Lions in part of their resurgence back to making the Bulldogs choke a 7-goal lead, the worst team for the round from expectations. Hugh McCluggage was awesome. Dylan Shield kicked a goal in 31, was a key part as to why the Bombers beat Melbourne. Zach Butters, 4 goal assists, 11 score involvements and 33 disposals. He was a lock. Jack Gunston, the man in top left on screen, kicking 6. Toby Green kicked 5 and 20. Was probably the best on the ground in the Saints game. Josh Tracy kicked 6, so he has to make it. Eric Hipwood, the second half resurgence from him. Chris Fagan gave him a spray clearly, and he delivered one of the best individual half-game performances of recent memory. 5 goals, 12 disposals, like 5 marks. He was on fire. Eric Hipwood, he was another man to what he was in the first half of that game. Ben King kicked 5. Logan Morris kicked 4 goals. And, you know, with all the Brisbane players I've named in the emergency of Callum Marchie, Logan Morris was really bloody good. When the Bulldogs were going good, he was still going good. So he absolutely deserved a spot in the team. Max Gawn, you know, you could argue, I heard commentary say Sam Draper was better. Then that's just a crock of shit. Max Gawn was clearly better. Was he dressily better? I think he was. And there was no other standout rucks at all. Sam Walsh, 3 goals to 39 disposals or 37 disposals. That's a lock. George Hewitt had 39. Sam Walsh had 37 and 3. George Hewitt had 39 and he was a lock. He's having a great season, is George Hewitt. Joe Menzies kicked 4, was a key part throughout the game for the Bombers. Zach Merritt had 33 or so. It was very good. Again, Cooper Shane was the Saints' best key forward option with Mason Ward. Mason Wood I would consider stiff, but so many forwards get 4 goals, so unfortunately he missed this week. But a lot of contested marks, 3 goals, about 14 disposals. Cooper Sherman was elite. Callum Ward, I thought he was probably the best player for the Giants. Like, he had a goal in 27, but his numbers don't do the work, prove how good he bloody was. Like, I was watching our game clearly, and like I do every game, but I was like, every time Callum Ward was there, he bloody did something special and impacted a marking contest, a tackle. He smothered or he stopped a Saints player from getting through or impacted their kick, or he took a courageous mark or a kick that opened the game up, part of their tsunami and their surge. He was bloody good. Without giving my Brownlow votes away, he could potentially be getting 3 votes in the Saints game. And Max Holmes was pretty good for Geelong with a goal in 32. In the midfield, Ben Keys, as I said, and Durden and Archie were your emergencies. And they were the next choices to be in the team. All right, so now, shall we? Let's go review the gather round. And what do I think of gather round? I don't like it at all. I think it needs to go from Adelaide. Sure, they got record-breaking numbers. I mean, of course you're going to break records. It's your second season doing it. It's just a cash grab. That's all it is. Anyone that says not a cash grab is delusional. You know, look, I like that there's a whole round in a city, I guess, but you don't need it. Don't let the AFL fool you thinking it's for the fans and everything's for the fans. That is a lie. It's for their pockets, all the money they're bringing in from SA, from their premier and everyone like that. That's all they care about. They don't care what you think. I mean, they would fix the tribunal if that was the case, but they don't because it's shit. But here we are. Now, some news coming through just recently in the last few hours is that Patrick Voss has copped a 3-week suspension for the dangerous swinging arm hit on Vlosten from the Tigers. And I thought that was very, very dangerous. I said to some people talking that night, I thought he's in trouble. He's in trouble. That's a swinging arm. And had he hit him harder than he did, he would have probably not only knocked out Vlosten, he would have knocked some teeth out of him, unfortunately. That's what it looked like it would have been. So he's very lucky because if he connected fully and knocked teeth out of his mouth and knocked Vlosten out, mate, you're looking at 5 weeks. I know some people say, oh, but they're suspending Houston for 2 and everything like that. Different examples. Houston's was a shoulder-on-shoulder bump if, who was the player he unfortunately cleaned up? If Fogarty didn't turn around, that impact wouldn't have happened. Now, this example is not good. This is dangerous. They're what you need to stamp out. That was very, very dangerous, and he deserved 3 weeks. I'm not going to cop anyone saying it should be nothing. That was a very dangerous act. Clumsy, dangerous, stupid, and Patrick Voss does deserve that 3-week suspension. If Freo appeal this, then they're silly. That should be 3 and stay at 3. If you're happy with players swinging round fist arms with a clenched fist and punching someone in the face, whether it's an accident or not, then that's just delusional. He deserves 3 weeks. In fact, had he connected, he probably would have got 7. So in connected as he knocked teeth out of his face and his mouth, sorry, and then knocked him out. Lawson is very lucky that he didn't get knocked out from that. That was very dangerous. They're the acts I need to stamp out. Forget about all these other weak decisions they give in the tribunal. That one is warranted. I know people are going to be divided with this, but think about it. It's a swinging arm, punched him in the jaw. Had he connected properly, mate, you're looking at broken jaw, teeth being knocked out, concussion, long-term effects. That was dangerous. That's a coward hit. Whether he meant to do it like that is a whole different story, but it's very dangerous. So 3 weeks is absolutely warranted for Patrick Voss. Obviously, Luke Jackson will be out, so and Jai Amos isn't in good form. I think they play Melbourne this week, Freo. So they're going to be light on for key forwards, but that's their own fault. Jackson's injured, and Patrick Voss deserved a 3-week suspension, so that was very dangerous. Now let's review the round 5 games of all these games we can gather around. It started off hot. Adelaide 100, Geelong 119. Adelaide had a lead and they blew it, unfortunately, for the Crows. It felt like a long time ago, this game. Ben Keats was really good. There was a few other players there, like Rankin and Dawson had their moments, but I think Dawson was tagged too, but it's what it is for Geelong. Well, Max Holmes was their best player. I just feel like Adelaide had opportunities to win this, and unfortunately Geelong just kicked a few goals in the last quarter more, and that obviously got Geelong the win. Friday night, also, that was at the Adelaide Oval. Collingwood 109, Sydney 78, Collingwood were 31. They got the job done, the Pies. They did really well without Houston, but Dacos, both of them were very good. I think a lot of players played their role in this Pies game. For Sydney, again, Chad Warner and guys like that did okay. They did have Joel Amati go off injured, so wonder who they bring in this week. Brodie Grundy and Peter Laddams hasn't worked, but Peter Laddams will probably play permanently forward this week with Amati out. Does Logan McDonald come back? Apparently they're going to trial him in the back line. Do they put Tom McCartan in the forward line? Dean Cox, there's a lot of questions to answer here. North Melbourne 89 got slaughtered by the Gold Coast Suns by 52 points, 89 to 141. North Melbourne continue to show and prove to me that they are the pretenders that I said they were. People were carrying on when they beat Melbourne. I'd be disappointed though if I was Gold Coast though. Heading into 3/4 time, and if it wasn't for those 2 late goals, the scores were basically even. People were saying, "Oh, well, North only left for 15 minutes of the game," but they were within a goal for 3 quarters. I don't know who you're more pissed with. Are you more pissed with Gold Coast, or are you more happy with North? I would say I'm more pissed with Gold Coast that they let a bottom 4 side like North Melbourne come close to beating them, but they took a surge in the last quarter of the Suns, and they did what I expected them to do from the start against the Roos at the Barossa. Miller, Rowell, Anderson, Ben King kicking 5. He might win the Coleman this year, Ben King. Larkey did nothing. Sheasel was pretty solid. Caleb Daniel, again, was terrific. But that's it. That was it. Carlton, 121, defeated West Coast 50. Carlton by 71 points at the Adelaide Oval. I mean, Carlton did what they had to do. Don't get carried away like Dan Gorringe is, or Richmond Gorringe, whatever you want to call him. We know you, Dan. And I know you know who I am. But anyway, come on the potty, mate. I'd love to have you on, Dan. Or Richmond, whatever name you are now. Why are you making these bets? You're lucky you didn't get the Harley Reid tattoo thing, Dan. That's all I'll say, mate. But well done. You can celebrate your grand final victory because Carlton, you are Richmond, and you go for Carlton. But you're wearing Gold Coast colours lately, and you're wearing Essendon colours. What team do you go for, Dan? Please tell me, mate. But West Coast, 71 points. Where to for West Coast? I mean, Waterman came back and done okay. Like, he got around the ball, just didn't kick accurate. I think he got 1-3. They'll get McGovern back. Tim Kelly played waffle and had 21 disposals and a goal. Was the second most disposals for his team. Actually, no, it was his most, I think, in the end. Second in the game, though, as his opposition midfielder got 26, I think, late in the game when I looked. But yeah, they lost that waffle game too. So whether that impacts him coming in or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, Tim Kelly will probably come back in anyway. Was McWalter going to make a statement? Because Tim Kelly had one good game this year, and it was against Brisbane. So against the best side they've faced, that was terrible in almost the rest of them. Same could be said for a lot of his teammates. But his form, I'm sure he'll get back to his best that he can get at. People say he looks disinterested. I'm not sure about that. But he should come back in. Hopefully McGovern's back for the Eagles. But yeah, in this game, they were bad. Tom Gross looked really good in his second game for the Eagles. Hopefully Elijah Hewitt is back this week as well. But the Eagles were shit. Paddy Cripps, I don't think he played well. I know he kicked 321. He was never considered for a vote for the Scoops medal. And he also will not be getting in my team of the week as I haven't put him in, as you just saw. Junk time goals. I just feel like he's not playing well. Is he injured? Or people just thinking he's better than he is right now? I know it might sound harsh. He's a 2-time Brownlow medalist. And, I mean, plenty more players are not even a 1-time All-Australian, let alone a 2-time Brownlow medalist. So he's a great player in his career, but I don't think he's playing well at the moment. I would say he's injured, but we can't use injuries as an excuse to why he's not playing well all the time. But yeah, he needs to pick up his form through the midfield. He's getting beaten up a little bit. Bulldogs 97, Brisbane 118, Brisbane by 21 points at Norwood Oval. Western Bulldogs choked a 7-goal lead. There is no excuses. I don't want to hear, Bontempelli, Treloar, Wakeman, and your former number 1 draft pick are out. That number 1 draft pick may never play for the Bulldogs ever again, or potentially AFL. And then as for the Bont and Treloar and Waitman, would you rather have them in? Absolutely you would. But you weren't saying that when you were 7 goals up. So don't then use it as an excuse as to why you choked a 7-goal lead. You shouldn't choke a 7-goal lead within a quarter and a half of footy against any opposition, no matter how good they are or how bad you are, who you've got in and who you haven't got in. Choking a 7-goal lead in a quarter or a quarter and a half in this case is just completely unacceptable. You shit the bed, no excuses. Liam Jones was absolutely shit and should be dropped. Eric Hipwood looked like Tony Lockett. Had 5 goals, 12 disposals, like 7 marks. He was phenomenal, Eric Hipwood. He single-handedly turned that game upside down from losing by 50 points to winning by 21 points. Eric Hipwood was awesome. Logan Morris kicked 4. He was bloody awesome throughout the whole game. Calamarchi, awesome. The Ashcroft brothers, awesome. Hugh McCluggage, awesome. Jack Payne, he brought the pain to Jack Payne in that whole game. Even when the Bulldogs were dominating in the forward half, he was bloody awesome, taking strong pack marks, intercept marks. He was bloody awesome. Hence why all those Brisbane players featured in my team. Calamarchi wasn't, and the Ashcroft brothers, but they were bloody close. Lockie Neal was okay as well, and Dunkley the same. So Jasper Fletcher, awesome as well. As I said, he was in my half-back line. So they all turned it around for the Brisbane Lions, and in particular Eric Hipwood. But a lot of hate Eric Hipwood gets, he's shut a lot of those haters up. And for a lot of people that seem to think Liam Jones is good, I've always said that Liam Jones isn't a good footballer and should not be playing AFL. It might sound harsh, but he just can't cut it anymore. He's been beaten numerous times this year, but because the Bulldogs refused to play their top draft pick from 2 years ago, Jed Buslinger. Bevo, what are you doing with these odd selection moves? How many weeks do I need to say this? Put Jed Buslinger in. Stop naming him emergency. Stop teasing that he might play and actually put him in. But you're playing my Saints this week, so don't put him in this week. Play Liam Jones again so Cooper Sharman can kick 5 on him or kick 4 on him or kick 3. Or he can be out-muscled and out-marked by Mitch Owens and Mason Wood or whoever. Let him play this week. Don't play Jed Buslinger this week. Play in the week after. This is why Luke Beveridge needs to go. He's making stupid selection moves. And what's O'Donnell playing forward for? Isn't he meant to be a backman? Another guy that I said that can't cut it as a backman. Alex Keith, he's now retired. Ryan Gardner, he's playing VFL right now. Shows what they truly think of him. And when they got their key position players doing bad in the back line, and he still can't get in. And you got O'Donnell playing forward, and he still can't get in. Buku Karmas hasn't done too well either. He had one good game, I think, this year, and then he's been bad in the rest. So keep playing these fringe players in your team, Bevo, because you got us this week. Make our choices easier. But we won't have Max King, unfortunately. Dan Butler probably won't be back either. Hopefully we have a few other players come in. Dougal Howard and Mateus Philippou still won't be back. The Flying Viking, Alex Taru, I don't think he'll be playing this week as he's only played one VFL game after a serious back injury pre-draft. So, you know, we have both got players out, but we've got a lot more out and a lot more vital players out. We've got our key forward out, our key defender out, our 2 best young players Key defender, and Dan Butler's one of our best small forwards with Higo. So we're missing a fair few ourselves and exciting young players, top 10 draft picks. But yeah, you shit the bed and choked a 7-goal lead. There is no excuse for that. Any Bulldogs fan who is content with that game is happy accepting mediocrity. You were shit in the second half. First half, I will give you all the credit in the world. You were bloody awesome. And I thought, holy shit, they're on. And then in typical Bulldogs, you shit the bed and choked a 7-goal lead. I don't care it was against the reigning premiers. I don't care that you got those players out. You didn't have those players in the first half when you had that lead. So don't give me that excuse that, oh, you only choked it because you didn't have those players. You got the 50-point lead or 40-odd point lead without those players. So don't use them not there as to why you choked. You choked because you choked. You shit it because you shit. Simple as that. Completely overrated. And that is the biggest choke of 2025, along with Richmond, coming from over 41 points down against Carlton. That's more embarrassing because Richmond was expected not to win a game this year. But the way the Bulldogs lost this one was outright embarrassing and the biggest choke of 2025, along with that Carlton choke against Richmond. Sure, the Richmond one was more embarrassing because it was Richmond and Brisbane was Brisbane, so there's no embarrassment losing to Brisbane. But the way they lost to Brisbane, the Bulldogs, was downright embarrassing, and all the Bulldogs supporters should be embarrassed with that performance in the second half. Don't go, oh, we're good in the first half, so that's okay. That's a team that accepts mediocrity. And if you're a real critic and everything like that, you can say, yep, first half, awesome. That shows what we can do. But then that second half showed how shit you truly can be, just like that. And that was just completely unacceptable. Pathetic. Right. Now, the Melbourne-Essendon game. Simon Goodwin needs to go. Simple as that. Why is Tom Fullerton not playing? I mean, what did you recruiting for? I know it was basically a delisted free agent or a trade for a late pick. But you recruited him to the club to be a backup key forward / backup ruck option. Also, Tom Campbell's there. Why aren't you playing Tom Campbell? Why is Fullerton not playing? Max Gawn is playing injured. Like, why do you refuse to change the team, Goody? Harrison Petty is shit. Daniel Turner is shit. Jake Lieber's now injured. And Jacob Van Rooyen deserves to be dropped. So you still won't play Fullerton. But you'll probably play him now as a token. But you could have played him all year. I mean, people said that Fritsch has been bad. I don't agree with that. Fritsch has been really good. Melbourne fans have been criticising Bailey Fritsch, but I think he's been probably one of their better players as well. Christian Petrarca played well on the weekend, and he did the week prior. So he's getting back to his best. Clayton Oliver was quiet this week. And Jai Manzi was terrific. Max Gawn was also good for Melbourne. I don't get why they were saying that Sam Draper was better. That's just stupid, as I said earlier, when I went through Team of the Week. But yeah, it is what it is. Melbourne were crap, and Essendon were pretty good the whole game, and they maintained their lead. Something that Essendon aren't good at, but credit to them. Dylan Shields, Zach Merritt, Jai Menzies, Zach Reid was awesome. How did he not get the Rising Star Award, or was he not qualified? Otherwise, he definitely should have got it. Hugo Garcia as well should have got it over Archie Roberts. I think he had 28 touches. Seemed to play pretty well, but I thought Hugo Garcia and Zach Reid, if he was qualified and eligible to win a round, they were both better than Archie Roberts. But here we are. It is what it is. So, yep. Good win for the Bombers, and Melbourne are 0-5. Right, the next game to go through were the Sunday games. Richmond 47, Freo 108. Tracy kicked 6, and most of those in the first half and went missing in the second half. Sarong was really good. Andy Brayshaw was really good. For Richmond, Jacob Hopper was really good. I thought Luke Traynor really impressed in the back line. He's having an impressive season, the debutant in his first season. But yeah, I thought Ben Miller lowered his colours. I thought he's had a terrific start of the season, but he was pretty bad against Josh Tracy. A matchup should have been changed there, like Jacob Blight or Vlosten or somebody should have swapped Nathan Broad. But Uze didn't change anything up. I don't know why he didn't. Ben Miller, Josh Tracy's a physical player. Ben Miller's shown he's got strength as well. Maybe he was just beaten on the day, but they should have changed it up. You had Jai Amos, who's done nothing all year. You could have swapped his opponent onto him and put Miller onto Jai Amos for a little bit and see how Amos's opponent would have went. But here we are. The next game was my Saints and the Giants. St Kilda 82, GWS 110, Giants by 28 points. I was really happy with the Saints start. Started really well. It was an even contest. So I was really happy, as I said, with my first half. Our first half. Or first quarter, sorry. Even. Started the game red hot. The Giants got a few goals. Jake Stringer protected from both his goals he's got in the game. The first quarter was ridiculous. Go watch it. How was that a free? And then the second quarter, the Giants were slightly ahead. The Giants were leading by about 20 points at halftime. I thought, we're still in it. Not going amazing or anything, but we were still in there. Shown that we're just one kick away from gaining momentum closer to our side. Then the third quarter was like 8 goals to 3, and that just screwed the game over there. Toby Green impacted the game well. Our problem, I feel like, was our long kicking into the forward line. We already got an undersized forward line at the moment without Max King and no second ruck playing at the moment. So, Wood and Sharman and Owens here are 3 tools, and they're just not key forward heights. None of them. So you can't be bombing it to Himmelberg and Taylor and Buckley and Iden. It's just stupid decision-making. Their skills from the Saints, like Steele and Burns and Stocker, like just butchering the kicks. They're like kicks that are just, being kicked 100 metres in the air, or they're trying to kick it 50 metres and they can't kick that far and they're not kicking accurately. Like kicking kicks that are just floating. It looks bad. Owens' shots on goals on his main foot, on his right foot, hasn't been great since he started his career. He's a great mark. He tries, and I will never discredit him for that. He's a good player, Mitch Owens. But he's got to fix this goal kicking stuff. It looks bad. He's better than this, and I know he can because he's kicking amazing lately on his left foot. 3 goals he's kicked this year on his left foot. They've been terrific. Maybe he should start doing that a bit more. Maybe that looks better for him on his left foot than his main foot on his right foot, but still plays well and tries. Like Cooper Sharman, he's a great bloody contested mark. What a great steal he was. Another guy from SA, like Cal Wilkie, that James Gallagher at the time found, and that's one thing James Gallagher can be proud of when he was the list manager at the Saints, getting Cooper Sharman and Callum Wilkie across from SA. He's been great. Jack Higgins kicked 2 goals. But yeah, in the last quarter, we were 50 points down at 3-quarter time, and I thought, we're going well here. Going back to our kicking, though, throughout the game, just let us down. The Giants will punish you. If you stuff up, the Giants will punish you. And that orange tsunami swarms, and they did really well. Like Stocker and Burns and Steele, their kicking let them down on the weekend. Like floating kicks, like you're trying to hit a target 50 metres out, and the ball's just floating and rolling away. Like, hit the targets. Come on. Basic kicks. You've got no pressure, some of them. It's just like wobbling kicks, bouncing about 15 metres in front of the player, and the ball's shaking around. Just like, come on, you're better than that. It's just like, that's something Burns, I think, and Stocker both bloody try, and I'll never give them shit for that. They do bloody try, but they've really both got to fix up their goal kicking. Sorry, not their goal kicking. Well, they would for that too, but they're kicking along the ground, around the ground. Like Steely is a great player. I feel like he's still carrying that injury and it's still impacting him. He's still doing okay, but I feel like Steely can do better than he has, and I'm sure he would admit that himself. Still a gun player, still a great person, everything like that, but he needs to probably fix up on that. But Wanganeen, Malera, and Sinclair, far out, how good are they? Absolutely good. Give Nasai Wanganeen Malera an 8-year deal, whatever. I don't like long-term contracts, but if that's what it's going to take to keep him, do it. But I feel like with Naz, it's going to be simple as this. He either wants to go home for family reasons or he'll stay at St Kilda on a long-term deal. So I don't think the money is like a key part in his contract thoughts, but just give him what he wants. And Jack Sinclair, a freaking superstar, and Cal Wilkie, good leader as well. I was really happy with Sinks and Malera's game. 3 goals and 24 touches. Sinclair a goal and 27 was awesome. And I said Mason Wood took like 8 or 10 marks. He was bloody awesome, mainly playing up forward, deep forward as well. Sometimes we took some of those marks. Macrae for the 17 disposal. He was taken by Toby Bedford, who had a really good game. Callum Ward, I just mentioned before how phenomenal he was, but Macrae again, 17 possessions, down on his normal numbers, but 12 of those 17 contested, 6 clearances and 5 of those centre bounce clearances and 4 score involvements. For the disposals he did have, Jack Macrae had impact, Kane. Impact. Something Horn Francis doesn't have this year. for most part of the year. And Callum Ward did a great job. As I said earlier, the impact Cal Ward had every time he was near the ball, whether it was a tap on or a little dribble kick under someone's legs or a handball along the ground so it couldn't be smothered and everything like that. The key smarts that Cal Ward has, and that's what set us apart, I feel, yesterday. His decision-making, his smarts, his skills, his leadership, his experience, one show. Like, Tom Green was solid as well, but Finn Callahan wasn't his biggest game. Toby Green was awesome, and he also showed his leadership experience and skills. And I feel like that's what they had over us outside of having a lot of tall players that we don't have at the moment or available or on the list for that matter in terms of quantity. They've got a luxury of Himmelberg and Iden and Buckley and Taylor. And then you got Hogan and Riccardi and Callum Brown. So you got a lot of tall players to choose from. And then obviously Kieran Briggs in the ruck. But yeah, credit to the Giants for the win. They earned the win. But when the Saints kicked 3 goals started that last quarter, I thought surely not. Got it to 32 points with 16 minutes to go, 16 and a half to go. But, unfortunately we couldn't get it done. And we move on to next week against the Bulldogs. And then Brisbane after that. Far out, we got a hard draw. First side, being 3-2, I'm pretty content with that. The last game, which was the slaughter fest at the Adelaide Oval, that Saints game, by the way, was at Norwood. Port Adelaide, 121, Hawthorn 91, Port by 30 points at the Adelaide Oval to end Gather Round. And thank God Gather Round is over, so I don't have to keep hearing about it. 71 points at halftime or something like that. Absolute disgrace, Hawthorn. Sam Mitchell got what they deserved, especially when they played Port last year. The Hinkley, Ginnivan, Luke Brewster's 300th game that time. The disrespect to James Sicily and Hawthorn showed to their 300-game superstar at the time was pathetic. How about you carry him off and stop carrying on to Ken Hinkley, who was supporting Luke Bruce at the time. But yeah, Willie Rioli put out a post earlier on Instagram, was deleted, saying the hatred he has for the Hawthorn Football Club, and it stems relating to his father and brother, I think he wrote. Can't remember off the top of my head, but something like that. So very interesting. That post was also deleted. So very interesting. SEN have posted it, I believe. So if you want to have a look, go and check it out there. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. But yeah, he was showboating the ball, showing CJ the ball and kicked the goal. And then CJ dumped him, and Horn Francis was involved, and some other players from Port. There was a little brawl, and then they got 2 goals in there. I thought that was a pretty disrespectful act from Jason Horn Francis and the players at Port that were into CJ at the fence. I thought what CJ did was disgraceful as well. But Horn Francis, continuing on, just wasn't needed. And Port got another goal out of it, so I guess they won that battle and they won the contest. And Port Adelaide owned Hawthorn at the Adelaide Oval and lately. And this was karma for Hawthorn. A bit of a reality check, but hopefully they beat Geelong. And then back after that, they can start losing and get more reality checks. But yeah, great win for the Power. But gee, you'd have to be disappointed as a Port fan that you had a 71-point lead at halftime and couldn't continue that momentum or at least stagnate the margin around 70 points. I had some Port fans telling me, oh, we're never going to maintain that margin and make it 100 points. I said, I understand that, but you've got to be disappointed that you got it back down to 20 points and won by 30. But Hawthorn somehow got within distance. There was about 10 minutes left and they were only 20 points down. You up by 71 at halftime. Don't put the Q in the rack. Bloody make them earn the scores they get. Jack Dunster kicked 6. He was awesome. Newcomb was good. Warple was okay on his return back from an ankle injury, ankle syndesmosis. But yeah, it is what it is. And credit to the Power, but they should be disappointed. And that they did not win by around 70 points. And they lost the second half by 40 points. So they can't be happy. And Sicily up forward does work. And he should stay forward more often. They've got Barras and Battle. They've got that luxury now, and CJ's playing as well. And Sam Frost has started the season there as well. So they've got the options to play Sicily more forward. I don't think their foreline's that great, Hawthorn. That's their weakness. Sicily makes their foreline look a lot better than it does without him there. Watson and Ginnivan weren't good at all. Watson was terrible. They did the aeroplane thing or something to do with last year. So, again, the karma bus with Dan Rioli. Not Dan Rioli, Watson from Hawthorn. So, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. All right. Now, so let's go through and wrap up with previewing the round 6 games, shall we? Oh, and my Supercoach talk, which I'll get to very shortly. Hopefully I don't forget that. So, yeah, let's quickly go through my tips for the week and quickly go through my Supercoach talk to wrap us up this evening. So, this is all back to their home states. Oh, I can't speak. Sorry, everyone. Right. All right. Thursday night at the Gabba. It's Easter Thursday clash. We've got Brisbane hosting Collingwood at the Gabba. 7:30 Victorian time. I'll be tipping Brisbane in this one by 5 points. Dan Houston will not be playing. I'm probably leaning towards changing this to potentially go Collingwood, but for now I'll go Brisbane by 5 points at the Gabba. Friday, the Good Friday game at Marvel Stadium, 3:20 on Friday, Victorian time. North Melbourne hosting Carlton. I think Carlton will win back-to-back games and win this one by 45 points, even though they're not that good themselves. Friday night at Optus Stadium, West Coast hosting the Bombers at Optus Stadium in Perth, 6:10 Victorian time. I'll be tipping the Bombers in this one by 38 points. Saturday at the MCG, 1:20 Vic time. It's Melbourne hosting Freo at the MCG. I'll be tipping Freo in this one by 18 points. Melbourne could potentially cause the upset here. 4:15 on Saturday, Victorian time. Adelaide hosting the Giants at Adelaide Oval. I'll be tipping the Giants in this one by 7 points. Saturday night at Marvel Stadium, 7:35 p.m. Victorian time. Richmond hosting Gold Coast. I'll be tipping Gold Coast in this one by 78 points. That's 7:35 Victorian time at Marvel. Sunday, 3:20 at the SCG. It's the Swans hosting Port Adelaide. I'll be tipping Sydney in this one by 20 points. Sunday night at Marvel Stadium, 7:20 p.m. Victorian time. It's the Bulldogs hosting my Saints at Marvel Stadium. I'll be tipping the Saints in this one, obviously, by 16 points. And the Easter Monday clash on Monday, 3:20 p.m. at the MCG, 3:20 Victorian time. It's Geelong hosting Hawthorn. I'll be tipping Hawthorn in this close affair by 6 points. And I'm going to make a bold call for this game that Jai Newcomb will get the match-winning goal for the Hawks at the end of the game, or will impact the last score that affects Geelong in terms of not scoring or Hawthorn scoring. Jai Newcomb will be involved and probably kick the match winner. There, you heard it. Now, let's quickly go through my Supercoach score to wrap us up. I scored 2,161, top 10% still. I went up a little bit, but I'm still in the top 10% in the last 3 weeks. So I've made some trades. I've took the money for all the cash cow players, the rookies. There's still some you can get. I'm not naming names of players to get because I don't want to give away my secrets of players I'm bringing into my Supercoach team. But key players, key trades, make all the right moves. Don't go wasting trades. Do not do sideways trades. Stop trading out players just for the sake of trading them out. There's going to be a reason behind it, and a good reason at that. Like, Cherry's been injured a little bit, so if you're going to get rid of him, I understand it because he's scoring around 80. But you have to mount a case as to why his replacement is superior to his scores. Like, if you're going to bring in Tom De Koning, who's been quiet the last 2 weeks, and Pitnet's coming back soon, like, don't do those moves because they're just going to score around the same anyway. And once if Cherry gets 140, you're going to look like a fool. And then if De Koning, who you bring, or whoever you bring in, gets an 80, then you look like an idiot. And then you'll be continuing to waste sideways trades. So don't do stuff like that. Cash in on your rookies now. Even if you're doing double downgrades and using your money the week after, that's okay because you're thinking about your cash generation and you need all those players. So do that and you'll do really well. So as I said, I scored 2,161, back to best 22, or you can have 23 players, and the lowest ranked on-field scorer, if you have all 23 players, your lowest ranked scorer won't count. So that's how that works. But I'm really happy with how I've gone. To wrap us up quickly, let's have a look at some of the people in my Scoops fan club league, and how people are scoring. I'm just getting it up for you all right now. I want to see who is in the lead and who you all may get. In my own league, I am 36 out of 148, so I'm really happy being 36 out of 148 people. Join the league if you want, 300 to 10. In first place, we have Daniel, which is the Biscuit. Shane in second place. Declan, Rowan the Saints in third. And Luke, who is got Caddy in his name. And Pete is in fifth. All right, my final thoughts are simply this. You want me on Cameo, head to cameo.com/Cooper G. Want me to roast a friend, wish someone have a birthday, anything at all, cameo.com/Cooper G. Thank you for watching this episode of Kick It to Scoops. Next week, more content throughout the week, some player interviews to come, hopefully, for you all very shortly. Thank you all, and go the mighty Sainers. And it's WrestleMania season. And come on, my tribal chief, Roman Reigns.